I'm sick of watching Caitlin getting attacked. If the league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast.
For weeks, the soundtrack of the WNBA was the same ugly thud. Caitlin Clark getting hacked, bumped, hip-checked, and hammered while the league office sucked down oxygen and said absolutely nothing. Fans roared online. Studio shows politely coughed and moved on. The message was clear. Handle it yourself, rookie. And then boom, the mute button shattered. Not because the WNBA cracked down, but because the biggest microphones in basketball history suddenly decided they'd had enough. Steph, LeBron, Luka, 6+ NBA All-Stars in total. It wasn't PR-approved praise, it was raw frustration shouted across the basketball universe, a batch of unfiltered call-outs that rattled every arena from Seattle to South Beach. Normally, NBA players keep their bouquets inside their own garden. A quick retweet, maybe a locker room soundbite, then back to business. Pascal Siakam broke that code on live television, asked the fluffiest question possible: which Hoopers get the most love right now? Siakam swerved past dozens of NBA names and dropped a bomb. Honestly, it's Caitlin Clark. The love around her is ridiculous. Let that breathe.
Oh man, Caitlin she's a beast, man. Like, and they love her. So I'll probably say Caitlin Clark. I love Tyrese, but she's another level in terms of just the love that she has.
He didn't measure her against rookies in the W. He measured her against Tyrese Halliburton, his own all-star point guard teammate, and still handed her the crown. That's not charity. That's reality. Clark has bulldozed the invisible brick wall that once separated their league from the league, and Siakam just stamped her passport. Obi Toppin isn't built for headline quotes. The man's language is dunks, not dissertations, which is why his reaction matters. No polish, no script, just big-eyed respect. Yeah, Caitlin's amazing. Seeing her courtside at our games is awesome. We cheer for her the same way she cheers for us.
Yeah, Caitlin's amazing. Super amazing. She's a great player. Having her be courtside and watching our games is awesome. We see the excitement that she has on the sides, but just like she's doing that, we do the same. Like when they're playing, like it's so much. It's a joy to watch.
That's parity in its purest form. No hierarchy, no women's basketball, but just Hoopers recognizing Hoopers. When mid-rotation NBA guys talk like that, you know the culture has already shifted underneath the hardwood. Being neighbors in Indianapolis gives Halliburton a front row seat to the circus orbiting Clark. He sees the autograph vultures, the camera flashes, the nonstop chirping, and her straight-faced composure through it all. Look, he told reporters, there's Bron, Steph, Jokic, and Caitlin. She's top 5 most famous in the sport, period.
She's, I think for me, getting to actually spend time around her, be around her, get to know her personally, she's just an amazing person, an amazing player. She deals with there's a lot of rhetoric behind her that she really has no control over. And I think that the way she handles that is just amazing. Like, I think when it comes to the game of basketball, like, she's probably top 5 most famous people that are playing right now, just in general. That includes our league as well.
He wasn't exaggerating. TikTok, ESPN, airports, morning shows, choose a screen, she's on it. Halliburton's empathy is the tell. He's felt superstar pressure as an NBA franchise savior, yet even he thinks she's carrying the heavier backpack. That perspective hits harder than any highlight montage. When LeBron speaks, entire narrative ecosystems pivot. He could have floated a safe compliment. Instead, he zoomed out to the macro view. She's bringing eyeballs. They flew private for the first time. Celebrate that. Translation, Clark isn't just hooping. She's accelerating structural progress 27 years in the making.
Because everybody is looking for you to say anything, and they're going to splice it and cut it and make it a negative thing. And I think for her, the one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane for the first time in their league history. They flew private. That should be celebrated in its own right.
LeBron's seen that movie before. He was that movie in 2003. He knows what it's like to drag an entire industry into a richer tomorrow. And his respect sounded personal, almost protective. You could hear the subtext. Don't mess this up, league. Protect your investment. Ask a born shooter how he honors another sniper, and the answer is simple. Lace him up. Trae Young has never met a logo 3 he didn't like, yet even he admitted he'd need extra reps to battle Clark in a televised shootout. The stat they share, only 2 college players ever to lead the nation in points and assists, binds them forever.
You were hype about Steph and Sabrina. I know that you have spoken about Caitlin Clark. You're a big Caitlin Clark fan.
Oh, yeah.
She, of course, is an excellent shooter. Would you ever do like a Caitlin Trae 3-point contest at All-Star?
Of course I would. I've gotten to talk to her too throughout her college years. We're the only 2 people that ever led college in points and assists. That's a crazy stat. I'd have to definitely practice a lot more than I have for these previous 3-point competitions. Nah, I'd be ready for sure. I'd do it.
Young's playful challenge wasn't cute banter. It was a peer-level acknowledgement that Clark's release, mechanics, and swagger belong on the same neon billboard as his. Viewers would kill for that contest, and the sponsors know it. George is the rare star who can zoom out without sounding like a professor. His take cut through the highlight hysteria. Listen, veterans spent years grinding in empty gyms. Suddenly a rookie rolls in and becomes the face. Some people will feel a way about that. He wasn't condoning cheap shots.
You gotta put it in perspective, right? These girls have been grinding to grow the game of basketball in the WNBA. They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewerships. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's going to be girls that are offended by that.
He was explaining the human backlash baked into rapid change. In 3 sentences, he honored Clark's meteoric rise while empathizing with the pioneers who laid the pavement she's sprinting on. That complexity is why his quote reverberated across podcasts for an entire news cycle. A reporter tossed Luka Doncic a softball. Who's your favorite women's player?
Who's your favorite women's basketball player?
Caitlin Clark.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like Paige Buchers?
Well, she's okay. I didn't see her playing the women's NBA, so.
Luka didn't blink. Caitlin Clark. No disclaimers, no hedges. For Luka, whose own leap from Euro wonder kid to NBA superstar rewrote historical curves, that economy of words was everything. He graded her on the hardest scale, professional impact right now, and she aced it. That's the kind of minimalist praise you frame. Steph watched the body blows. He studied her tape frame by frame, and then he nuked the diplomatic playbook.
I'm sick of watching Caitlin getting attacked. If the league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast.
Boom, point blank. Coming from the man who literally bent basketball geometry, that sentence was both threat and thesis.
I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. And then her just confidence out of you can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair. Like, she's a performer. It's crazy though, just because her shot is it's like that. It's at that level. If you really watch, like her floor game is as impressive. So it's kind of the total package.
He followed with surgical breakdown, identical release speed, limitless range, identical showmanship. Then came the uppercut. She's the total package. Remember, Curry's praise isn't casual. His seal turned Klay Thompson into a myth and Jordan Poole into a millionaire. Declaring Clark a kindred spirit is nothing short of legacy anointment. Momentum paused the moment Jason Tatum shrugged off the WNBA question with a 7-syllable answer: A'ja Wilson. End of file.
Favorite WNBA player? A'ja Wilson.
Respect to Wilson's dominance, but Tatum's refusal even to whisper Clark's name felt calculated. Same energy when Kevin Durant asked about his favorite female athlete answered Angel Reese on the bounce. Reese is talented, sure, but given Clark's record-shattering year, KD's selection read like a subtweet in human form. 2 mega voices declining to lift her up reinforced the tension Paul George foreshadowed. Not everyone is ready for the new order. And that, ironically, underscores Clark's disruptive power more than any glowing quote. Pull back from the talking head tornado, and the data is jaw-dropping. Games moved to NBA arenas and still sold out. TV ratings punching 400% above last season. Merchandise flying so fast Nike can't keep Iowa Gold on the shelves. Charter flights? Approved midseason because the optics of a generational athlete waiting in TSA lines were too absurd for 2025. Corporate sponsors are flooding in, and yes, rival players feel the whiplash. The curve isn't steep, it's vertical. Greatness never breeds neutrality. It splits rooms into devotion and defiance. Ask Jordan, Serena, Tiger, or Prime LeBron. The WNBA has begged for urgent discourse for years. Clark drop-kicked the door and served it on a platter. Every cheer and every cheap shot prove the same thesis. Indifference is dead. The league can fix officiating, marketing, revenue sharing. It can't fabricate passion. Clark generated it overnight. Here's the tricky part. Elevating a single rookie into cultural orbit risks turning her into both beacon and lightning rod. The league must capitalize without cannibalizing its own ecosystem. Protect Clark's health, showcase the vets who paved the lane, and keep storytelling varied. That means quicker whistle reviews, a marketing budget that doesn't rely entirely on one zip code, and yes, charter flights for all teams, not just the Clark Caravan. The NBA learned this lesson with LeBron fatigue in 2011. The W can read that playbook in real time. Steph's comparisons are flattering, but Clark's ceiling isn't to become the women's Steph. It's to become the first ever Caitlin Clark, a hybrid of Curry's shooting gravity, Magic's assist flair, and Mahomes' cultural spark. That alchemy can't be borrowed. It has to be invented in real time, under harsher spotlights than her predecessors ever faced. NBA stars sense that. Some cheer, others bristle, but nobody can ignore it. That's evolution in sneakers. Pascal admitted the love. Obi felt the joy. Tyrese saw the humanity. LeBron saluted the shift. Trey offered the smoke. Luka certified the resume. Steph drew the line in neon paint. And yes, Tatum sidestepped. KD counter-programmed, reminding us that revolutions come with resistance. Add it up, and one thing is undeniable. Caitlin Clark isn't simply participating in the WNBA. She's resetting its gravitational center. The silence is over, the pressure is on, and the league's future now orbits a 23-year-old with a .38-second release. You wanted a spark? You got a wildfire. One so bright, even the NBA can't look away.